Peace will fill the world when we finally understand that only from within can it be spread throughout the land. Every single person living peace in what we do, only then will our dream come true. Only then will our dream come true. Only then will our dream come true.
Good morning, friends. I'm Leona Evans, minister at Unity of San Luis Obispo, an inclusive, progressive, spiritual community affirming the good in all life. Welcome to our Sunday morning live stream. I'm delighted to be here. I'm so glad you're here. And I am thrilled to be able to present the subject to you today of our talk. And the question is, what makes a hero? I think that's a wonderful topic, especially as we have been talking about moving from a culture of violence to a culture of peace and changing the way we have seen certain things in order to create more compassion, more acceptance, and more of an understanding that we are both fully human and fully divine. I love to use the term spiritual beings having a human experience. And so let's prepare for our time together by taking a deep breath and relaxing. Breathe deeply and focus your attention on our mission for this morning. That is to feel connected with our own spirituality. Recognize that we are one with all life, all living things, and that the creator and sustainer of all life is the living spirit of truth, which we call God. And so in order to feel that presence more deeply and more profoundly, we take this time once a week on a Sunday morning to discuss those ideas, to meditate about them, to listen to inspiring music and an inspirational and provocative talk that will help us find our way, moving from a culture of violence to a culture of peace, moving from a feeling of separation to a feeling of wholeness and oneness. So, let's take another deep breath, relax, and let us affirm together, I am now open and receptive to the living spirit of truth. Once again, I am now open and receptive to the living spirit of truth. And so it is. Amen. Let's begin our service this morning, as always, with a joy song sung by Matthew J. Evans.
Good morning. Today we're going to sing House on a Rock by Janet Manning. Please sing along with the lyrics on the bottom of the screen. I built my house on a rock. It's got a firm foundation, and I've got a principle within. I built my house on a rock, and it's a sweet sensation, knowing I'm free to love the world that I'm in. And I get up every morning with a song in my soul. I'm a child of God, therefore I'm well and whole. I built my house on a rock, it's got a firm foundation, and I've got a principle within. I built my house on a rock, it's got a firm foundation, and I know the truth that sets me free. I built my house on a rock, and it's a jubilation, knowing I'm meant to live so joyously. And I go out and pep. I built my house on a rock, it's got a firm foundation, and I know the truth that sets me free. I built my house on a rock, it's got a firm foundation, and I see the good in everything. I built my house on a rock, and I'm a new creation, loving my winters 'cause they're followed by spring. And I look out every morning on the world and I say, all the life I've yet to live begins today. I built my house on a rock, it's got a firm foundation, and I've got a principle within, and I know the truth that sets me free, and I've got a principle within. Have a great morning, everybody.
Thank you so much, Matthew J. Evans. That was just lovely. I really enjoyed that. House on a Rock by Janet Manning. Wonderful musician, unity teacher, dear friend. I've got a house on a rock. It's got a firm foundation, and I know the truth that sets me free. This is an affirmation that's particularly important to us now. What is the truth that sets us free? I repeat this definition all the time, and I know I do. And until you guys can maybe suggest a different one, I will continue to say that the truth that sets us free is knowing that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And why does that bear repeating? Because part of the human condition is that we think we are human beings striving in vain most of the time to have a spiritual experience. And that sense of lack about who we are promotes this idea of competition. Unless I'm the best, unless I'm flawless, I'm not good enough. We have superheroes. We have religious icons, flawless. Personally, I have a hard time relating to flawless beings because I'm not a flawless being. And if I'm going to relate to someone, it's going to be an overcomer, someone who fell down and had the wisdom and the guidance and the help and support to get up and move on. That's where I connect the most. But there's no question about the siren's call to worship the flawless and to try to be one of those who never makes a mistake. How painful to think of ourselves as having to do that. What pressure. What does that do to our striving to be our authentic selves? And authentic means whole. It means having victories and defeats. It's having high times and low times. It's going through the light and the darkness. But in the culture of violence, there are superheroes. And we are told, not because the superheroes demonstrate that, because truly Superman, Batman, all the superheroes are quite benevolent and loving, but that's the thing too. They don't get angry. They're always benevolent and loving. They look fantastic. They save the day. They never sweat in public. And for all intents and purposes, we look to them to save us from ourselves and our own mistakes. Now, I'm not mentioning names, but I'm talking about religious leaders as well. For me to connect with any religious leader, I need to know that they overcame their flaws, not that they didn't have any, because that doesn't connect me with them. So the culture of violence, one of the issues says that in order to be a hero, I have to be flawless. I have to win all the time. That's how I can inspire people to have confidence in me. That's how I can feel like a winner, and I can never make a mistake. Otherwise, I'll be a loser. So this dualism that I've mentioned before, the all or nothing consciousness, and that's part of a culture of violence too. The culture of peace is about a broader spectrum of awareness that allows us to embrace both our divinity and our humanity, to be able to do the dance of authenticity, which by nature involves making mistakes. That's pretty much the only way we grow. And without those mistakes, we become more like a machine. But then again, even a machine breaks down. So what I am working with from the depths of my being to share with all who will listen is, again, we are spiritual beings learning to have a human experience. We already are the energy, life, substance, and unconditional love of God. We came in that way. That's who we are. But unless we learn how to experience all levels of life, we don't truly grow and learn and experience our oneness with all life. We're stuck in a competitive world where it's me against them. That only works as small children. And ideally, we grow out of that and move into a time of compassion and unity and greater understanding, unless we are pressured from the outside to forget that and just focus on being a winner no matter how you have to do it. So this week, the hero that I believe had a tremendous victory this week in an unusual way is Simone Biles. The greatest of all time, GOAT, which is a sign that she wears on her clothing, her athletic clothing. Greatest of all time. And she was interviewed by a reporter who asked her about that. And she said, oh, yes, it's a wonderful feeling to know that you have what it takes. I want to be a role model to all people. I want young girls, women, people everywhere, regardless of their economic status or their geographic location, to know that we all have it within us to be the greatest of all time. And so she was filled with confidence. She won everything. She invented new moves, as many great athletes do. And she has been on the top, a flawless representation of a hero. But not a complete representation of a hero. Not by any means. Because this week, Simone Biles made a choice, and the choice was to quit the events that she was registered to participate in. I'm speaking now as of August 1st. It's not finished yet, and she might still come back, but that would be based on her own understanding of her readiness to do so. But at this moment, she withdrew from competitions because she didn't feel like the greatest of all time at that moment. It didn't mean, and it doesn't mean that she isn't. It means that she was suddenly filled with panic. She had done a vault jump, and instead of 2.5 rotations, she did 1.5. She seemed to have lost focus and wasn't exactly sure what happened. And then she started feeling panicky, and she was filled with anxiety, and there was no way that she could represent herself or her team fairly with that kind of mindset and that kind of physical anxiety coursing through her. Had she ever experienced that before? Probably not. Do most all of us experience that at least 1 or 1,000 times in our lives? Yes. As a matter of fact, it can be traced as being a part of our psychological spiritual development, our psycho-spiritual development, to have a wonderful and positive and slightly naive view of life and our role in it, which would be magical thinking, and then suddenly come face to face with a groaning defeat that just knocks the socks off you. That's part of what it means to be a hero, not separate from it. It's a very uncomfortable part. It's an embarrassing part. We feel lost. We feel disconnected. We feel that something's been taken from us. We feel like a failure. We feel like we've let people down. And the old paradigm says, you shouldn't have quit. You should have stayed in there, and you should have shown everyone that a winner never quits and a quitter never wins. The new paradigm says, recognize what it's like to be on top and to feel all the incredible feelings of this amazing talent and hard work. Enjoy it, do it, be there for it, and also accept that life is a process of changes and things can't be that way all the time. And if they were to be that way all the time, then we would have no compassion. We would lose our goal of becoming fully human. And we'd be above it all. I mean, there are a million reasons to work our way through the gamut of human experiences and be able to come out with a recognition that we are so much more than what society thinks we should be or who we think we should be. We're so much more. By being free to win and to suffer defeat, a sense of maturity comes over us, a sense of understanding that our gifts as a role model are not confined to the extraordinary and the incomparable, but they have to do with everything we do every moment of our lives. We'll talk more about this after we hear some wonderful music from Brett Mitchell and Matthew J. Evans.
Here's a song I did for church in 2019, but I had revised just yesterday and today. And so we'll see how I do this. It'll be very interesting. Hope you like it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Why in the world should we hide who we really are? All the beauty inside. Why our beauty inside? Why hide all the wonderful love we have? really are, we really don't have to. Thanks, Matthew. That was great, really.
Thank you. What a beautiful song. So great.
Friends, for those of you in the San Luis Obispo area, we have a very special in-person get-together next week. You're all invited. It's at 11:30 a.m. at 532 Left Street, the home of Shari Rousset and Keith Hamilton. Brett Mitchell will be there in person, and we will have a wonderful time of music, meditation, and meaningful discussion. So I look forward to seeing you next Sunday at 11:30 a.m. Please remember to be there. God bless you and have a wonderful week. Yeah, the goal is to be able to give thanks for who we are. But the problem is because we don't really know all that we are, we separate our qualities into the ones that people approve of and the ones that don't. The ones that don't, we try to keep out of the way, so much so that sometimes we actually forget they're there. So that when we do get upset or we do experience a moment of incompetence, we say, I just wasn't myself. What does that mean? Really, I wasn't myself because myself is supposed to be the chronic overachiever who has to go to any length in order to make a positive appearance for people. Let me tell you from firsthand knowledge, that is such a hard way to live life. And it's also an inauthentic way to live life. And so from the time I got into Unity, I started with a mission to be able to understand how to be glad that I'm me. It wasn't working when I refused to acknowledge my flaws. No, of course, it's not working when all you think you have are flaws. Again, that either or thing, that dualistic thinking will get us every time. The goal is to synthesize, to integrate, to be all that we were created to be. And no one says we have to like or approve of all of it. Of course, we do the best we can. Of course, we do everything we can to avoid feeling unable to proceed with our tasks. But the fact is that there are times when the most generous and loving thing we can do is to assess our own mental health at any given moment, as well as our physical health, of course, and make a decision based on this moment. Not a blanket decision to never play again or to leave and take our baseball and go home, that kind of thing. We need to be careful that what we are doing is expressing from our authentic self, not our ego self, not our pain-filled embarrassment at losing our facade. In case every action of ours is not a victory, we've got to work hard to be the greatest of all time, the greatest me of all time, the greatest you of all time. And to truly be glad that we have discovered that, not through magnificent conquerings and winnings and victories, but out of the experience of defeat too. To be glad that we're exactly who we are. We know where we come from. We know who we are. We know where we're going. We are expressions of spirit, divinely individualized, created in love, filled with spiritual gifts, on a quest to learn how to be fully human. And this week, Simone Biles had her experience, her coming of age experience, as I like to call it. She tasted a level of life that she hadn't experienced before, and she rose to the occasion by explaining that what she was doing was not only in her own best interests, but in the interest of the team. She was simply not at a place where she could do her best. And that happens. And to be able to do it without blaming others, without getting into a huff, without pretending that it was someone else's fault and she couldn't help it, she's experienced enough of her spiritual evolution not to have to do that. That was very heroic. What makes a hero to me is not only the dazzling victories, but it's able to come through a confusing and baffling and bizarre moment that you can't really define from the highest and best within you. One journalist wrote a column about what happened to Simone Biles this week, and he characterized it differently. He said she was a quitter. He said she let her country down. He said she let her teammates down, that she left them in the lurch, and she did not do her job, and she was no longer a role model. Well, to that journalist, I say, I deeply disagree with your opinion. I deeply disagree with your opinion. And I would like to share that for me, Simone did not let her team down by using her ego to believe that somehow some magic would happen and she'd be her best again, even though she felt terrible. She put her team first. She had confidence in them. She said they can do better without me, and she was probably right. Her score was so low on that vault jump that she would have brought them down. She knew that. It wasn't a case of negative thinking. It was a situation based on fact. That was not her day to shine, and that doesn't make her any less of a winner or any less of a hero. She did what was in her own best interest because she also spoke a bit about doing things for others being her sole motivation. And I mean, there's no question about it. When you're at the top of the heap, when you are hired to inspire and lead, the world doesn't expect you to have moments where you say, I don't know what that means. I'm at a loss to do my job right now. We're not allowed to do that in a culture of violence. We say that once and bingo, you don't see us again. There's very little compassion for people who expect a great deal from us and don't get it. So I believe Simone did an amazing job. I think what she did was the true character of a hero. She spoke her truth as it was in that moment. She offered her teammates the power of her praise and her belief in them. She was there to spur them on, and she was not there to interfere with their defeat. What makes a hero? Someone who can remember who they are, regardless of time, place, and circumstance. Each of us is a hero. Each of us has the potential within us to be glad, to express our authentic self and to grow and experience so many different facets of this divine diamond of life and evolution, that we are able to accept and have compassion for ourselves as well as others. Relax now and breathe deeply into this moment, a moment of revelation and new beginnings, a moment to say, I love myself the way I am. And no matter what I do, I am the authentic hero of my own life. I speak my mind with grace and clarity. I do the best I can at any given moment. I am clear about how to take the best care of myself while also honoring others. I accept myself the way I am, with my great virtues and my flaws. A combination of both bring me to a place of wholeness, a place of light, a place of love, a place of peace. And so it is. Amen. Now is the time in our service to bless our tithes to Unity of San Luis Obispo. Tithing is kind of a mysterious word. Some of us might think it's antiquated because mostly it's used to talk about giving to a religious organization. But the fact is that tithing is much more than that. Enlightened giving would be another term that we could use, because there is a law in operation. It's the law of reciprocity, the divine law of giving and receiving. And it means that as we give and how we give is something that we will see return to us multiplied. There's a law of cause and effect, the law of prosperity, all kinds of ways of describing what it is that the universe responds to when we give in love. And so today, I would like to ask you to consider if you receive spiritual nourishment from this message, the music, the meditation, and if you did, to please honor us by joyously sharing a portion of your bounty with Unity of San Luis Obispo. Not only does it keep us active and sharing our teachings with people throughout the world, but it acts as a catalyst. And the universe returns that inspiration and the effects of that inspiration to you 30, 60, 100-fold. It's that kind of marvelous opportunity to put the universe to a test, so to speak. Share, and it will be given unto you. Give in joy, and you will receive what you have given multiplied. And please remember also that a portion of all the tithes that you share with Unity of San Luis Obispo will be shared with organizations that support human rights and the safe and secure ongoing of our planet Earth. There's so much work to do in the world and so much good that your tithes can do. And so please hold your offering in your hand if you are able to do so, or in your heart, and affirm with me our prosperity statement. God is my source. I am God's channel. In love and wisdom, I share my gifts.
Here's an old standard from, it goes way back, 1929. But it's a good song. It's simply called Sposen. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Supposing we do that, supposing we do this. Yeah, fun stuff. Swinging, we're swinging today.
I suppose it was.
Yeah.
Thank you for being with us every week. Thank you for sharing your immeasurable talents with us. Thank you for being such a wonderful team. Thank you for the beautiful arrangements and the love that you put into them. Let's sing our peace song, shall we?
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my joyful vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Let's speak the words of our prayer for protection together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. Please press the like button and share your comments with us. We are delighted to hear from you. Also, tune in to the Get Off Your Affirmation podcast. There are loads to choose from, and we're going to be putting a new one up in the next couple of days. Also, check our website, unityslow.com, if you'd like to subscribe to our weekly newsletter or be a part of the Get Off Your Affirmation group. So, God bless you and have a wonderful week. You deserve it.
Every single person living peace in what we do. Only then will our dream come true. Only then will our dream come true. Only then will